Hey, this is Robert, and thank you so much for tuning in to Station Square. And yeah, hope everybody is staying cool and staying, pretty active because I know that it's kind of a nice day to just go out and get some fresh air and not burn prayerfully. But yeah, it's summertime, so thank you so much for, you know, chilling with us. And here we are, number three, because the last time had some audio hiccups. So yeah, this is
Yeah.
Lindsay joining me once again. So I just wanted to thank you
Hello.
so much for
Thank
being here on
you.
this
Always
morning's episode.
happy. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, anytime. So I guess to, you know, pi I guess to do a little bit of an icebreaker, how have you been? Because I know a lot of stuff has kind of been, you know, some developments have been going on. Like we're kind of out of a strike, thank God. But yeah, some
Yeah.
other stuff has been going on at your end. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, the strike is over. The video game strike is over. For those of you who had been following that, we reached an agreement last month. So very excited about that, hoping that work's going to start picking up again. But it also is summertime, which is normally kind of a slow time of year. But yeah, it was a long haul.
Yeah, long. That's putting it very, very, very nicely.
Hmm.
Yeah, because like I remember, because during our very first conversation that we ever had, I think the first interview we did, I think it was around the time, because I remember this very vividly. It was the morning before the WGA strike really went into effect, and now here we are 2 years
Oh,
later.
wow.
That was a
Yeah, 2 years
wild
later.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had the WGA strike, we've had the SAG-AFTRA theatrical strike, and we've had the video game strike. So yes.
Yeah, that is just three strikes way too many, if you ask
Hmm.
me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But we
And
need to protect ourselves because the employers are, always trying to, save money, and we as artists and creators have to stand up and protect what we do and protect our livelihoods. So,
exactly. Because like it's also another thing too where it's not like, oh my gosh, we talk so much about this. We're just trying to protect ourselves from, stuff like this.
yes, exactly. I mean, artificial intelligence is here. It's not going away. And so we have to find the best way that we can continue to have careers without being taken advantage of. And that's really what it comes down to, without having our literal voices stolen from us.
Exactly. And I'm just really happy that there's a lot of progress that is just being made when it comes to protecting ourselves against AI and a lot of the other industry scams that have just been going about. And trust me, there's a lot.
Yeah, there is. There really is. Yeah.
Yeah, and you also just recently, because I know you kind of go like very often, but San Diego Comic-Con, which I think the last time we spoke, like the first interview, I think it was around the time that you were planning to leave to SDCC, but yeah, now that we're
Yeah.
kind of back from, that you just got back from, San Diego, I guess you could share a
Yeah.
little bit about, just going to conventions and yeah, just, spreading the word.
The past couple years, I've moderated a panel for the National Association of Voice Actors about uh, creators in the age of AI. And, our panel literally happened the day after the Orange Man's executive order that copyright protections shouldn't have to apply for all of the information being ingested into large language models, which was terrifying, and also wanting to avoid quote unquote woke AI, which of course is a threat to the queer community, to all marginalized communities out there. And so we had a very, very interesting panel at Comic-Con talking about what protections we actually have, what the threats are, what the things we can do. And, the big overarching sentiment that came out of the panel is that we as creators all have to work together. voice actors, writers, content creators, artists, all of us have to work together because it is threatening all of our livelihoods, and we can't continue to be isolated little pods like we often are because so many of us work in isolation. We really have to find a way for all of our different groups and members to try and join forces and speak as one voice in an effort to protect the creative arts.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, look, there's so many decisions that I am absolutely am entirely opposed of. But since this isn't really a podcast where I usually discuss politics, I'm just gonna say, yeah, like just continue to fight and just keep continuing to,
Yeah.
let your voice be heard and use
Yeah.
it for positive stuff. Don't. I mean, I
And
was just talking about
yeah.
this with somebody where it's like, okay, it's good to have a platform, but definitely make sure that you're using it just to use it for good and don't just, be a jerk about it. you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. And do write your representatives because one of the things that NAVA did is that they were on Capitol Hill meeting with legislators in an attempt to get the No Fakes Act passed. But also when we heard about the effort to put a moratorium on enforcing AI regulations for 10 years at the state level in the Big Beautiful Bill, NAVA launched a campaign to write and call your representatives, and it was successful. Like that part of the bill was removed. So this is really a bipartisan issue. People across all platforms, all political ideologies realize that we need to have some safeguards in place for artificial intelligence. And so your voice really does matter.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I know that we could just discuss like, all of what Nava is doing. I mean, I've given them a lot of, praise and everything
Hmm.
in previous interviews, and I just really can't thank them enough. And honestly, like, if you really want to learn more about just all of the, you know, effects and just
Yeah.
meetings and what they're going to be doing to, help advance actors and just have better protections and just, make this community much safer,
Yeah.
especially with what's been happening politically and also just around, like, the industry as it's just
Hmm.
kind of been in a really weird kind of like downturn or
It
something. But
has.
yeah,
And it's
it really
not just
has been. Yeah.
voiceover. It's not just
Just
voiceover. It
everywhere.
is
Yeah.
all of entertainment. I mean, I've talked before on your podcast and obviously to other places. I work across all mediums, right? On camera, I'm a writer, I'm a voice actor, but even within voice acting, right? I do video games, corporate, commercials, dubbing, all the things. And everything is slowed down. The film industry here in LA is, I mean, there's statistics that between 30 and 58% of work has left the city. And then, what I'm hearing now is that a lot of that work is just going overseas. And then because of the political climate, people aren't greenlighting new shows and they're not doing ad buys. And it's a whole ecosystem that is just has kind of really taken a hit, and hopefully it will bounce back. But just know, if you're feeling that it's slow, you are not alone. It is, and it's not just you.
Yeah, and the reason that I was saying that is because I don't know if you watched the Voice Acting Mastery with Crispin Freeman, which is a really great podcast. So just wanted to give
He's
a
fantastic. I
yeah.
Crispin was a fellow video game negotiating committee member, so he is one of the best people out there. Please listen to his podcast, study with him, learn from him. He's amazing.
Yeah. So I am about to pull it up right now because he actually just did an episode. He
Hmm.
didn't interview somebody, but his recent episode, which was posted on July 31st, because I actually checked it out last night, and I guess it's kind of like a preparation for today's interview, where
Hmm.
this episode that he did was, well, it's just basically him just talking about how to maintain your artistic inspiration during an industry turn down. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
downturn.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I'm not really the only one that's just feeling like, man, why is everything just kind of really slow? And then, Crispin kind of shares, the same feelings as everybody else is. It
Yeah.
is, when it comes to industry, because everything's just kind of been really taking like a huge, like, you know,
Hmm.
plummet when it comes to entertainment, not just with
Yeah.
voice acting, but you mentioned like on camera, film,
Everything.
everything, theater, everything, everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know that it's kind of like a really rough time. I mean, I've also been noticing this too with like animation as well, where so many different shows that are getting canceled if they don't,
Yeah.
have good ratings and stuff like that. Like it's just really, really sad,
Yeah.
and shows that are getting canceled unfairly due to, political climates and all
Yeah.
that stuff shutting down funding. So, like
Yeah.
I said, not really a show where I want to get political, but I mean, for stuff like this, it's like sometimes you don't, it's like you want to keep this show like, just engaging in entertainment, but I know that understandably a lot of us kind of want to get away from the real world and turn to escapism, but that can kind of also bleed into reality in a little
Well,
bit because
unfortunately,
yeah,
this is a business, right? It's
exactly,
like we are
business, yeah,
creatives, but we have to forget that, like, first and foremost, we are independent business owners, right?
exactly.
And that is something that I wish more people paid attention to because, I get a lot of new students who I coach, and many of them, they don't understand that side of things. And it's not just a voice actor side of things. People coming out of theater schools and stuff like that don't understand the business side of things. They've been focusing so long on, honing their talent and things like that. But you really do have to worry about things like taxes and business things, and then looking at the market, right? Like when the economy starts to take a downturn, when we start talking about tariffs, trade with with other countries, all of that has an impact. And so I'm an escapist too. Like, life is hard, man. Reality can suck sometimes, but there's only so much you can avoid before you really have to realize that it does impact everything that you do and find ways to be able to protect yourself as best you can, to be as diverse as possible, to speak out when it's appropriate. But yeah, unfortunately, I wish more people paid attention to the business side of the entertainment business. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know for a lot of us, we're just like, man, I just really want like another. Because I think I also listened to an interview with Quentin Tarantino where he was talking about the recessive state of movies nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, I'm just glad that a lot of artists and actors that are just really starting to not, it's just not like, oh, I know it's probably just gonna be like a little phase, like it's probably we're just seeing like another upswing of quality of stuff,
Hmm.
but it's really important to I mean, I know that, look, we've been through this before and we're certainly
Yeah.
gonna go through more of these in the future. Like it's not
Yeah.
like when it comes to entertainment, like we're gonna go through waves of just, you know
Hmm.
stuff that is going to be in a recession and then it goes back up and then it goes down. Like
Yep.
this is, it's unpredictable. Like it's
It
so
absolutely is.
unpredictable. Like you just never know. Like look at what we were going through for like the last 2 years alone. Like
Exactly. I
it's
mean, you have
yeah,
to be flexible. You have to be able to pivot quickly. Um, this industry is not for the faint of heart, right? There is nothing easy about it. We all want to just be able to like focus on our craft, and that's all we have to worry about. But that's not reality. You have to be able to partner that with the same thing that that restaurant owner has to do or that lawyer has to do. We still have to consider all of those things. And again, like I said before, be as diverse as possible, have backup plans, have a good support network, have a savings account, because there are good years and bad years. And people that some of my mentors who've been in this industry for, 40, 50 years, they've seen recessions, they've seen booms, and you have to think long term. You have to like save your money when you can, invest your money, all of those things, because you're going to have times in your career when it does get hard.
exactly. And I know that we're kind of talking about a lot of this serious stuff, but it's so
Hmm.
important, like you said, because it's
Yeah.
always important to have backup plans. And pretty much from what Crispin was talking about in the episode that I was just mentioning, he just shares a lot of very helpful advice on what is something like, just sharing the tools and techniques to
Yeah.
still maintain your own artistic inspiration during an industry downturn, which is something all of us can really use at a time like this. So
Yeah.
even if an industry goes down, like, this sounds terrible of me to say that. When we're experiencing like, a dry period, like we're still finding new ways to be creative, to stay on top of our games,
Hmm.
stay on top of everything else, like whether it's training,
Yes.
just keeping everything consistent, social media, or just do what it is that you want to do. And just going out and experiencing and living life, it's something that most of us, like, I know it's very easy to say, oh, go outside and just touch, grass or anything, but
Right.
seriously,
It's
a small
really,
difference
it's
like that. Yeah,
It's really, and I talk about this a lot. It is so important to protect your mental health, right? I
exactly.
mean, this industry is hard enough alone in the good times, but it's really, really important to make sure that surround yourself with positive things. And, if you do feel yourself starting to get frustrated or to get down, like do things that make you happy, be around people who make you happy. Me personally, like I'm an avid scuba diver and I'm getting ready to go on a trip on Saturday to go scuba diving because that's what helps like
Fun.
really revive my spirit and my soul. So really make the effort to do something, even if it's like you just said, going outside for a walk or sitting in a park or something,
Or going to a beach, which I haven't
or going
done
to a
this summer.
beach.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't done yet this summer because summers. Like, I always say my
Yeah.
summer schedule is just like, I know that we had to reschedule a few times because both of us are just
Oh
like,
man, things
look, when you're,
just, yeah.
yeah. Oh no, yeah. What we could say?
Oh no, I was like, yeah, that's the other thing about this industry is it's completely unpredictable. You make
Yeah,
plans and then you've got to adjust on the fly.
yeah, for sure. But I'm not gonna say, oh, I think my schedule is open up for this, and then next thing you know, nope, gone.
Boom. Exactly.
So yeah, but TLDR, a beach, a trip to the beach sounds really good about now
Yeah,
because it's that
does.
the weather is pretty much, it's about the weather seems perfect enough to go out and just get that nice little sea breeze if I'm able to.
Hmm. Right.
Yeah, because the weather, yeah, I mean, I just always go on about the weather here in SoCal, and I know some people are going to be like, man, living in California must suck. Well,
I
some
love it.
parts of it, I love California, but some parts of it can kind of be it can be a pain, not gonna lie.
Hmm.
Because you got the weather and some, you know, other stuff, that traffic and some other stuff I won't get into, but yeah, just it can be really nice. Like if you really want to make the, and that's another thing too that I wanted to talk about. Like if you're really
Hmm.
ready to make the transit, like I know a lot of voice actors do want to make the big move to like Texas or LA and so on and so forth. Do it when you're ready. Like we were just talking about
Yeah.
savings. Just don't, like if you're willing to start doing this full time, make sure that you have like, you know, that you're financially stable and you're
Yes.
ready to start making the big
Absolutely.
out to Texas and
Absolutely.
LA.
And again, most of the industry is remote, there's
Yeah.
the niche parts, the video games, animation, anime, live action dubbing, which you do kind of need to be in LA or like you said, Texas. But if you want to make this a career, that means working in all aspects of voiceover. And the great thing about that is that the majority of those areas you do from home. 90+% of my work is from my home studio. So,
Yeah. I mean, like, I've got this booth since 2020 and I've been
hmm.
doing pretty well with it. So I'm not really looking into, I mean, it's always nice to upgrade, but with this setup right here,
Sure.
like, like, look, if you could get anything done, like, that's pretty much is the good thing. That's pretty much what
Yes,
matters. Yeah, as long as it does this work and it does its job, then hey, we good.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Um, And I know that I just mentioned Comic Con like San Diego, but for Los Angeles,
Hmm.
like LA, because I know you also do like lectures and stuff like that. And I think I remember going to the strike panel like last year sometime.
Yeah, we've had yeah, there was for about two years or so. SAG-AFTRA had a panel about the video game strikes at Comic-Con. San Diego, we also did like New York Comic-Con one year, LA Comic-Con,
Yeah.
really trying to educate our fans about what's going on, educate the
Yeah.
community about what's going on because we're all in this together. The fans have so much power with, you know, the what they put out on social media in supporting us. So making sure that people who consume these products, not just video games, obviously TV, film, everything, understand what goes into the development side of things and how people are treated and how their work is valued is really important.
Exactly. And on the topic of, the Comic Cons, conventions, they're also like I think they're also really good because I know for voiceover conferences, those are like, oh yeah, those are specifically for like business and getting to meet some of
Mhm.
the top talent in the business. But I think comic conventions are also a nice way of, let me see. I don't want to use the word networking, but it's more like, hey, you meet those that are pretty much like, if you're just being yourself, just being like, hey, I also like this stuff and I'm also interested in getting into acting. So it can also be a nice, you know, making new connections and friendships along the way. And you just never know
Yes.
who you're gonna meet in the industry.
The
Like,
first
I know it's,
people I met in LA was through Comic-Con. I got a participant's badge before I moved to LA. It was the year before I moved, or a couple months. And I knew one person down here because I'd been coming down here to take a Charlie Adler class. At the time, I was driving down every weekend from Berkeley and knew that they were going to Comic-Con. And I just texted them and was like, hey, I'm coming down. I don't know anybody. And at Comic Con, he introduced me to so many people in the industry who ended up becoming dear friends of mine when I moved down here, who was the beginning of my support community. So it really is, yeah.
yeah, man. One of these days I'll do a Charlie class. One of these days, man.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
know.
God.
They're pretty epic.
Yeah. And also expensive, but hey, it's
They
everything's
are.
an
They are
investment
very
these
much.
days,
Everything
so
is an
I'm not even
investment. It
surprised.
is.
Yeah. I'm not saying that as like a, oh my God, Charlie is so, ugh, but I'm just saying that like, look, I definitely recommend Charlie. It's just, man, definitely save up.
Yeah,
That's all I
he's a character, but he has been doing this a really long time. He knows how to get to the heart of reads, of character development. Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually finally met him recently, like 2 months ago. Just absolute sweetheart. And I was like, can't wait to take one of your classes someday if I can. I didn't say this, but if I can
Yeah.
afford it.
Right, right. Yeah.
Exactly. But hey, if any of y'all have taken classes with Charlie or Bob Bergen or anybody else, let me know in
Yep.
the comments and definitely feel free to give some pointers in case if I forget to include like resources in the description when these
Mhm.
go up.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I mean, there's so much great stuff out there, and
yeah,
after COVID or during COVID, so many great LA coaches now teach online. So
yeah,
there are people now accessible who were previously only accessible in person.
yeah.
So
And also, yeah, on that note, do your research. If there's a coach
yes,
that you wanted to take,
yes.
like, online, because I know you also coach on Skills Up, which I think we talked about
Hmm.
before. So I just also
Yeah.
wanted to give them a shout out with Jennifer Hale and all these wonderful, great
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's so many great places out there for coaching, and obviously Crispin Freeman is a
Oh,
great
yeah.
person as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Yeah. And just a disclaimer, I know not every coach is going to vibe with everyone, but I know that there's
Absolutely.
always going to be that one person that's like, man, they really did change the trajectory of my
Yeah.
career in a good way. So,
Absolutely. And that's why it's important to train with a variety of people, right?
yeah.
Because like you said, not everyone works for everyone. Some people just resonate differently, and that's okay. It's finding what works for you, but being diversifying again, just in your career, but also in your training, because
Yeah.
everyone is going to have something to offer.
Yeah, and you mentioned scuba diving before. So
Mhm.
what is something else, like any other hobbies that you've kind of been picking up that have also been keeping you just I guess head
Oh,
above water and just really keeps the
yeah.
blood pumping, just keep
Um,
that blood flowing. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean,
Pretty.
I am a writer too, and
Oh yeah,
so
right.
writing is a two-edged sword. Sometimes it's really cathartic and relaxing, and other times it's like, oh God, like I just had to do a major rewrite of a screenplay, and I was like, okay, and
Deadlines.
spending hours doing it. But I also love hiking. That getting out in nature is really something that feeds my soul.
Yeah,
That I really enjoy doing, and I'm an avid reader, and so
yeah.
just love going through different books and yeah,
And it definitely feeds your just creative just and it really recharges your energy. Just get those
it really
batteries just
does.
continuing
It really
to operate.
does.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
for sure. So what is something that you really that is just so invaluable to you after being a voiceover for so many years or just doing acting,
Oh
just
man,
being in showbiz for so long?
valuable. How so? Like what?
I mean, like, what is something that you cherish so much about it? Like, anything that you've kind of, like, the biggest lesson that you kind of took away from that you still, that, you kind of carry with you all these years later, even up to today, you know? Just something
Mm.
that is so invaluable that you want to share to the
I
audience.
mean, diversifying is probably one of the biggest ones, and persistence. That's another one. I mean, I come from, I was a journalist before this. I was in the army. I was in university for many, many years, and just persistence is one of the biggest things. Things are going to be hard. Things are going to be a struggle. Things are a grind. I've been broke and had to work multiple jobs to pay the bills. But if this is something that you're truly passionate about, you keep plugging away at it. You find ways to make it work, but you also make sure that you're not shoehorning yourself into just one area, right? I know, so many people who are like, I just want to do animation or I just want to do anime. And it's like, I get it. I know that those are the fun, exciting things. But if you're looking to make a career out of this, you really do have to have other areas that you work in as well. And so I think, yeah, those would be the two things I would say: persistence and diversifying.
Right on. So for some of your projects, those are kind of like because there's so much that we kind of can go over, but I think for the sake of
Sure.
time, what would you say are some of the most exciting that you've worked on as of late, like over the last few years? Because I
Oh,
believe we
over the
discussed
last few years.
yeah, like I think
Yeah, I
we were
mean,
talking about
Transformers was
Transformers and stuff.
years
Yeah.
ago. Yeah, Transformers came out during COVID. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's been a long time now. That was obviously the most fun I've ever had. But I was the female player character in WWE 2K24, which I knew very little about wrestling. Obviously, I know who The Rock is. I know who John Cena is. But I had to do a deep dive into the world of female wrestling specifically, getting to know the characters there because, in the game, for those who know the 2K games, they have the actual players, will be voices in the game. And so I was watching a lot of YouTube videos about how to do the different types of like the speeches you do when you're in there. And it was such a fun game because I really got to just play and also do the action side of things with like the wrestling moves and everything. And I don't think anyone's played the game, but it's a very niche part of the industry or niche part of the people's pleasures. But it was just such a blast to record. And if you are into wrestling at all, I don't know how the gameplay, like I'm sure there's complaints about the gameplay, pros and cons. I'm not sure that side of things, but the stories for it were just fun. Some of them were just so out there. It was just hilarious.
Yeah. So it's moments like this that just remind you why you just love doing just pretty much
Exactly.
everything. Yeah, video
Yeah,
games,
it's you get
songs.
to just
Yeah.
play and discover new things and yeah,
Yeah, because I know that a lot of the work that you do is pretty much video games, but for Transformers, that was like pre-lay animation. So would you say that, getting to do like pre-lay stuff, because sometimes, or well, it
what do you
used to
mean by
be,
doing pre? Oh, yeah. So the
yeah,
voiceover came first for Transformers. Yes. They
yeah.
animated
So
to my performance. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I just wanted to clarify on that because for a lot of anime and video games, a lot of it is kind of like solo one on one, and I understand why. But I know before when it comes to animations, like I mean, I think they're still doing ensemble, but not really as frequent as
No.
before. I feel like, yeah.
Ensemble, there's a couple shows that do it, but for the
Hmm.
most part, nothing is ensemble. Actually, the one ensemble thing that I have done, which people can listen to right now, new episodes are being dropped every week, is the podcast, The Invenius Expedition. I highly recommend it to everyone. It is like a blockbuster movie for your ears. It is absolutely epic. I play one of the lead characters, Samantha Keller, and just had so much fun with this character. And these were group records. For those of us who were in LA, we went to Tim Friedlander's studio in West Hollywood, and the few people that were remote would zoom in to the sessions with us. And so we really did get to play off each other. And I think you can hear that in the performances that we were in the room with each other, and it's just so well mixed, the music and the sound effects and the story and everything. So if you're big into like sci-fi and stuff like that, please check out the Invenios Expeditions. I think they're through episode 8 now, and it's a spin-off of the Leviathan Chronicles, which is a radio drama that's been out since I want to say 2008. But yeah, those were group records, and it was just so much fun. And I've been doing interviews with the cast and the crew and everything, and putting those out on our Patreon. And one of the things that all the actors have talked about is just the fact that they got to record to other people and just how impactful that was.
Yeah. I mean, just sharing about taking what you know about life and just putting it into your art is like one of the most
Yeah,
beautiful, therapeutic experiences that you'll
it
ever
really
find.
is. It really is.
Yeah. So I guess on that note, you could just plug in your socials, your other upcoming
Yeah,
stuff that you could talk about. Yeah, just self-promo time.
absolutely. You can find me on Instagram, Linsay Rousseau. That's where I am mostly. I have quit the Twitters because I cannot
Forget
support
Twitter.
what's going on there. I am on Blue Sky, but it is mostly me following journalists, and Blue Sky is kind of a nice place to see what's going on in the world, but through a more academic lens, I would guess. So I do post there, but there's not as many entertainment industry folks over there. It's a lot more because I am an activist and am very passionate about women's rights, and obviously as the vice president of QueerVox, that is really important to me. And so that's kind of what my Blue Sky focuses on. But Instagram is always a great place. Please reach out. I try to respond to people if I can. I am on Facebook for those people. I do have a Facebook page. Um, I have tried to do the TikToks. I am there. It's mostly me just like putting out random videos of thoughts that I have during the day. But no, Instagram's probably the best place. And then, yeah, like I said, right now you can check out the Invenios expeditions. There are new episodes dropping every week on your favorite podcast provider. Please join our Patreon for exclusive behind the scenes stuff. You can also like get schematics to the submarines that we travel on, and just it's a whole universe, a whole world, which is really exciting. Let me see. Oh, yeah, I continue to be a contributor to the No Sleep podcast. And for those of you who are fans of Goat Valley Campgrounds, which was a 6 or 10 part series arc that I did a couple years ago. The woman who writes them has a huge following on Reddit and stuff like that. Her books are fantastic, and we did the radio drama version of them years ago, and they got so much acclaim. And we're going to start diving into a new chapter of Goat Valley Campgrounds. I think I'm allowed to say that. If I'm not, I don't know, but I think I'm allowed to say that. So I'm about to start recording on those. So just, keep your eyes peeled to the social medias to see what's going on with there. And then, yeah, NAVA is going to have another AI panel at LA Comic Con. We're also doing a joint panel with QueerVox about how to get into voiceover in 2025, because things have changed. So if you're going to be at LA Comic Con, come check out those two panels. Obviously times haven't been solidified because it's not till October, but we did get our panel approval, so we're very excited about that. And I think that's all I have to announce for now. You know how this industry is. Things are constantly moving and changing, and you never even remember when half the things come out that you've done. So yeah, that's those are the big things.
Yeah. I guess on that note, I usually do an outro or just have the guest be
Sure.
like, "My name is Lindsay. I've done this. And this is Station Square with Robert Jackson." If you're up to
Sure. What is it called? I always
oh,
forget the
Station
name of your
Square
thing.
podcast with Robert Jackson.
Stations where. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna write this down so I don't forget it. Station Square Podcast. That's a fun name though.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I am Linsay Rousseau. You might know me as Alita One from Transformers War for Cybertron on Netflix, and this is the Station Square Podcast with Robert Jackson.
Beautiful. And on that note, thank you so much, Lindsay, for joining me
Oh,
today.
thank you so
And
much for having me again, Robert. It's always fun, and yeah.
yeah, and I probably might looking forward to seeing you at LA Comic Con because I'll be there for like the weekend
There
for
we
my
go.
birthday.
There you
So
go.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll
way to
be there.
celebrate. Yeah, thank you so much and have a lovely day, y'all. Peace.
Bye.